And with that, we will turn our attention to our next speaker, who is Bob Hanson from MAPS. And Bob is going to talk about technology enablers and the collectors of LiDAR data for the Earth Archive.
Well, thank you. I'm going to be hopefully under time, Chris, but more importantly, I'm here.
We'll take the extra time if you.
Okay, but really delighted to be here, and we're going to go completely different here for a little bit, because we're here as a MAPS member organization to really voice our support to Chris and the Earth Archive and introduce a bit of who we are here in the United States and what we do, and hopefully will generate enough interest that you'll do some outreach to us and communicate with us and collaborate with us.
Of course, anytime.
Now, if I can only advance, there we go. So MAPS is really not a person, it's an organization. We work here in the United States, and we have a group. I'll go into that a little bit in a moment, but really what we do is we work with the private sector and government agencies, primarily in advocacy and delivery of programs, federal programs, state programs here in the United States. And this is really important for what we've done here in the USA, and I'll cover that momentarily. And with regard to the Earth Archive, we've been in support of this initiative for quite a while. Matter of fact, if you look at the sponsor member firms that are part of the sessions of the last 2 days, you'll see them listed here: Planix, Compass Data, Eagle View, ESRI, Geo1, Hexagon, Regal. They are all contributed to the great education and awareness that's been created during the sessions. More importantly, we represent 100 private sector firms here in the United States. As you may recognize, firms like ESRI, Hexagon, and Regal, we design and manufacture the LiDAR sensors and the software for most of the post-processing that is done with governments and academia in the United States and worldwide. We also have a variety of firms that work on the platforms for hosting and the delivery of the data, the LiDAR viewers. Many of the firms that we have within our membership do the artificial intelligence and machine learning. And of course, probably the biggest thing that we're known for is the actual aerial collections and services to produce LiDAR data sets. We're busy. What intrigues me is the fact that the Amazon itself is about the equivalent size of the lower 48 of the United States. So over the last 7 or 8 years, we're the group of companies that have been collecting the high accuracy topo and bathy for the entire United States and its territories. If you attended the U.S. Geological Survey session earlier, you'd have awareness of their ambitious program. We're the enablers of that program. We're the ones that collect the data. And what we believe is that we're really the experts as a group in the collection of very large and very remote areas. What's different, I guess, from the standpoint of what I've heard through numerous sessions, is that we take a very standards-based approach to our LiDAR collection. And that's driven by the requirements of the U.S. Geological Survey and other federal government agencies here in the United States. And those standards allow us to really do homogeneous type of collections that has multi-purpose. It drives the entirety of the methods that we collect and process the data, including point densities and so forth per square meter. Also, vegetative and non-vegetative areas, very standards based. Most of our firms do work in the United States and also perform international work. The goals that we have are very common to the Earth Archive. We believe that there is a huge requirement for engagement within the geospatial community. We start with the big business sector. We interact with all of our federal government agencies here in the United States. We work with the not-for-profits and the NGOs. We're very supportive of any geospatial program here in the United States and abroad. Our forte, what we're probably recognized for most, is public policy and advocacy. We go to the Hill to get the money. We also support and interact with universities on education and workforce development for the university to private sector advancement of careers. And we're very keen on knowledge sharing. We're unique because with all the aircraft, all the sensors, all the people, all the capabilities, we approach it by sharing that information, believe it or not, directly through the private sector interaction along with the US government agencies. And we are very keen on standards for professional practice, ethical and appropriate behaviors for the work that we perform. So as I kind of go through here relatively quick, I want you to really take away from our session here today that you can consider outreach into MAPS and join our conversations. Among our federal activities, we have a legislative affairs committee. We also have monthly updates on all legislative affairs that we're involved with on geospatial. The focus is on geospatial. We have assigned agency liaisons that work directly with the agencies on advocacy for their programs and fundings and technical insertions into legislation. We have regular agency briefings and Capitol Hill visits. We'll write letters on behalf of our members to different congressional representatives as well as to agencies themselves. We conduct in-person virtual meetings, have regular meetings with congressional staff. We run an annual federal programs conference, and we all have multi-agency international experience. So we do share a common vision with the Earth Archive. Support Chris, support this effort. We support you. We are technology developers. We are the manufacturers. We understand the importance of the balance of needs of economic investments in all technology and even in the construction of infrastructure for improving quality of life and protecting human existence. Our firms do include environmental planners. We are helping to protect and sustain natural places. We work with NOAA, with FEMA, Department of Interior, USDA, and many others, all with stewardship of our natural environments here in the United States. And we do understand that what we're doing does support programs to mitigate and potentially reverse to some degree climate change here and everywhere. So again, we do a variety of things. We would invite you to join us on our digital dialogues. We do have our business opportunities and issues activities, our federal day where we go to lobby, advocate would be better to say, advocate on the Hill. We conduct in-person meetings. We have one coming up here in July, our MAP Summer Conference in Asheville, North Carolina. We'll have a winter conference at the Geo Week in Denver, Colorado, and you can contact me or send information inquiries directly to MAPS at info@maps.org. So as I wrap up here, I want to just make sure that you understand that we find it fascinating what Chris is attempting to do. We understand the scale and magnitude of this. It was so intriguing to see so many presentations that are from academia and governmental entities in Central and South America and here in the United States. And we'd like to join you in thought leadership on how to collect LiDAR based upon our experience, process it, and deliver it for very large areas. I guess I'll wrap up on this, Chris, by saying we take a very good government approach with partnerships. And if I if I can represent a group of people that can do this nationwide here in the United States, we're pretty confident in our political climate that we can do this almost anywhere. So congratulations to you, Chris, and I will give back my time.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. We'll definitely be in touch, and thanks so much for your support. And I have to say that these MAPS events are really pretty interesting. And as academics, or coming from the academic side, we need to be more involved in these events. We need to be presenting at these events. We need to, be doing presentations and keynotes if we can do them. We need to participate to help, the private sector understand the kinds of data and the kinds of needs that we have in ways that they can support our big research programs, because they're all interrelated. And there's a huge opportunity here, not just for LiDAR, but for all sorts of mapping and other kinds of analysis, for us to begin to work with the private sector to answer some of these big questions that we all want to sort of tackle. And I want to thank you so much, Bob, for coming and participating, and for all of your support for the Earth Archive initiative. And again, I hope that other people in attendance will take that message to heart. And so thank you again, Bob. That was awesome.